Captain Elara Voss gripped the command chair as the Pathfinder shuddered violently around her. Warning klaxons blared across the bridge, their persistent wail cutting through the chaos as status displays flashed angry red. Reinforcing structural integrity field. Lieutenant Commander Arjun Shah shouted from the engineering station, his fingers dancing across the haptic interface. But it's not going to hold at this rate. The cosmic storm had appeared out of nowhere. One moment, they were cruising through the regular spatial anomalies of the Helios corridor, a well-traveled route between Earth's colonies in the Tau Ceti system. The next, their sensors were overwhelmed by radiation signatures unlike anything in their database. Navigational systems failing, called out Ensign Mai Chun from her position at the helm. I have lost all reference points. Elara's mind raced. The Pathfinder was humanity's most advanced deep space vessel, equipped with experimental quantum navigation systems and reinforced hulls designed to withstand extreme conditions. But this storm was beyond anything they had encountered in the 20 years since humans had achieved faster-than-light travel. Reroute emergency power to the shield harmonics, Elara ordered, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her insides. And prepare for emergency FTL jump, anywhere away from this storm. Captain, the drive isn't responding to commands, Shah reported, his dark eyes wide with alarm. Energy patterns are. They are shifting in ways I have never seen. The quantum matrices are destabilizing. A massive burst of energy slammed into the ship, throwing several crew members from their stations. Elara held on, wincing as her shoulder pressed painfully against the restraint. Through the view screen, she watched as reality itself seemed to tear open before them, a swirling vortex of colors that shouldn't exist in normal space. "Everyone brace for impact," she shouted, just as the Pathfinder was sucked into the maelstrom. The last thing Elara remembered was a blinding flash of light and the nauseating sensation of being stretched in all directions at once. Then darkness claimed her. Consciousness returned slowly, accompanied by the acrid smell of burned circuitry and the distant sound of emergency systems struggling to function. Elara's eyes fluttered open to see the bridge bathed in the dim blue glow of emergency lighting. "Status report," she croaked, struggling to sit upright. Her head throbbed with every heartbeat, and a quick touch to her temple came away with a smear of blood. "Captain, you are injured," came Dr. Amani Okafor's concerned voice as the ship's chief medical officer materialized at her side with a medkit. "Hold still." Elara waved her away. "Later. I need to know our situation first." Looking around, she saw her bridge crew in various states of recovery. Shah was already back at his station, while Chun was helping communications officer Miguel Reyes back to his seat. The artificial gravity was functioning, at least, which was something. "Primary systems are coming back online," Shah reported. "Hull integrity is holding at 82%. Life support is stable." "But Captain," he hesitated, his expression grim. "The quantum drive is completely offline. Early diagnostics suggest critical damage to the navigation matrix." "Where are we?" Elara asked, the question weighing on everyone's mind. Chun looked up from her console, her face pale. "Unknown, Captain. Stellar cartography is running comparisons, but none of the star patterns match anything in our database." Elara felt a chill run down her spine. "How is that possible? We have comprehensive maps of our entire sector." "It's more than that," Reyes cut in, his voice tight with tension. "The spectral analysis of the nearby stars. They don't match known patterns. There are elements present that shouldn't be possible according to our understanding of stellar evolution." Dr. Okafor finished applying a regenerative patch to Elara's temple, then stepped back with a troubled frown. "Are you suggesting we're not just lost, but somewhere else?" "I don't know," Reyes admitted. "But whatever that storm was, it did more than just damage our ship." Elara took a deep breath, steadying herself. Panic wouldn't help anyone now. They were alive, the ship was damaged but functional, and they had a talented crew. Whatever had happened, they would face it together. Begin full diagnostics on all systems, she ordered. Shah, prioritize the quantum drive and communications. Chun, continue mapping our surroundings. Reyes, scan for any signals, I don't care how faint. If there's anyone out there, I want to know about it. As her crew sprang into action, Elara gazed out at the unfamiliar stars scattered across the view screen. For the first time in her 15-year career with the Solar Alliance Deep Space Initiative, she had no idea where they were or how to get home. But she would find a way. She had to point 3 days later. The situation had clarified, though not in ways that brought comfort. So what you are telling me, Elara said slowly, addressing the assembled senior staff in the conference room, is that we are not just lost. We are in another galaxy entirely. Dr. Leo Novak, the ship's astrophysicist, nodded grimly. His normally animated face was drawn with exhaustion after 72 hours of nonstop analysis. The evidence is conclusive, Captain. The cosmic storm somehow created a wormhole, or something like it, that transported us across intergalactic space. Based on the quasar positions we have been able to identify, we are approximately 13 million light-years from the Milky Way. A heavy silence fell over the room as the implications sank in. Even with their advanced quantum drive functioning at peak efficiency, the journey home would take centuries. And the quantum drive? Elara asked, turning to Shah. He shook his head. The navigation matrix was fried. We can make short FTL jumps within this galaxy once we have mapped the local gravitational conditions, but without the specialized components from Solar Alliance shipyard. His voice trailed off. We are effectively stranded, Elara finished for him. Not necessarily stranded, Dr. Novak interjected, some of his characteristic enthusiasm returning. Just taking the scenic route home. This is an unprecedented opportunity, Captain. No human has ever set foot in another galaxy before. The scientific discoveries alone will mean nothing if we can't get back to share them. Reyes cut in, his tone sharp. As the youngest senior officer at 32, he sometimes struggled to maintain the professional distance the others had developed over their longer careers. Elara raised a hand to forestall the brewing argument. Both perspectives have merit. Our primary goal must be finding a way home, but we should also gather what data we can while we are here. Now, what about our resources? Life support is fully operational, reported Commander Diana Wells, the ship's XO and resident pragmatist. Food and water recycling are at optimal efficiency. We have supplies for at least 3 years at current consumption rates. And I have got repair drones working on the secondary hull breaches, Shah added. We are in decent shape, all things considered. Elara nodded. Good. And what about? The ship-wide comm system crackled to life before she could finish. Captain to the bridge, came Ensign Chen's urgent voice. We are detecting an artificial signal. The senior staff exchanged startled glances before hurrying after Elara to the bridge. Report, Elara demanded as soon as the turbolift doors opened. Chun looked up from her station, eyes wide with excitement. It started about 5 minutes ago. A regular pulse sequence repeating on a frequency our systems classified as artificial. Origin, a star system approximately 2 light-years from our position. The fourth planet appears to be the source. Elara's heart raced. Is it a distress call? Unknown, Reyes said, taking over at his communication station. The pattern doesn't match any known human protocol. It's too structured to be natural, but he worked for a moment, then looked up. It's a mathematical sequence. Prime numbers specifically. A beacon, Dr. Novak breathed. Or a greeting, or a warning, Commander Wells added soberly. Elara considered their options. With the quantum drive damage, they could make the journey to the source in about 3 days using conventional FTL. It was a risk, venturing further from home, but the possibility of finding intelligent life and potentially assistance was too important to ignore. Set course for the signal's origin, best possible speed, she ordered. And let's prepare for first contact protocols. If there's someone out there, they might be our best hope of getting home. The alien ship appeared on their sensors when they were still 6 hours from the planet's orbit. It was massive, at least 3 times the size of the Pathfinder, with a distinctive ring-like structure surrounding a central sphere. No obvious weapons were detected, but that meant little. Humanity had learned the hard way that the most advanced technologies often appeared innocuous. They have altered course to intercept us, Chen reported. Estimated contact in 20 minutes. Elara stood in the center of the bridge, straightening her uniform. Open a channel, standard greeting package. The package was the culmination of decades of xenolinguistic theory, a sequence of mathematical principles, basic physical constants, and simple pictographic representations designed to establish peaceful intent and the foundation for communication. It had never been tested on a truly alien species before. Moments after transmitting, the view screen flickered, and Elara found herself staring at a being unlike anything she had ever seen. The alien appeared to be composed of crystalline structures arranged in a vaguely humanoid configuration. Light pulsed through its transparent body in complex patterns, and where a head should be, a cluster of smaller crystals rotated slowly. No obvious eyes or mouth were visible, yet Elara had the distinct impression it was studying her intently. "Greetings," she said, falling back on protocol. "I am Captain Elara Voss of the Earth vessel Pathfinder. We come in peace." For several tense seconds, nothing happened. Then the bridge speakers emitted a series of musical tones that rose and fell in a complex pattern. "They are attempting communication," Reyes said unnecessarily, his fingers flying over his console. "The computer is analyzing the patterns." The alien's crystalline body pulsed more rapidly, and the musical tones continued. Abruptly, the ship's AI announced, "Partial translation matrix established. Communication possible at 43% comprehension level." The musical tones were replaced by a stilted, synthetic voice. "You are not known. Your vessel different. Your form unusual. Identify species parameters." Elara exchanged glances with her officers before responding. "We are humans from a planet called Earth in the Milky Way galaxy. We were caught in a cosmic storm that brought us here against our will. We mean no harm and seek assistance." The translation seemed to take longer this time, with the alien's body pulsating in complex sequences before the response came. "Humans, unknown species, not registered in collective database. From beyond? Impossible transit. The storm created what we believe was a wormhole," Dr. Novak interjected, stepping forward. "An Einstein-Rosen bridge between galaxies." The alien's crystalline body flashed with sudden intensity. "Dangerous knowledge. Unstable pathways. The veil should not be breached." "The veil," Elara repeated. "Is that what you call the barrier between galaxies?" "The veil separates, protects. You have passed through. This is unprecedented." The alien's form shifted, rearranging into a new configuration. "You must be examined. Your vessel must be studied. Follow to Nexus Prime." Commander Wells stepped closer to Elara. "Captain, I'm not comfortable with." Elara raised a hand to silence her. "We appreciate your offer," she told the alien carefully, "but we need assurances of our safety." The alien's response was immediate. "No harm intended. Knowledge exchange beneficial. Humans are unexpected variable. The collective must assess." Elara considered their options. They were alone, damaged, and lost in an unknown galaxy. The aliens, the collective, apparently, were their best hope for assistance, but walking blindly into their territory could be dangerous. "We will follow," she decided finally, "but we maintain control of our vessel and the right to depart if we feel threatened." The alien's body pulsed in what might have been agreement. "Acceptable parameters. Follow signal path to Nexus Prime. The Crystalline Collective welcomes the impossible visitors." With that, the transmission ended, and the alien ship began moving away, leaving a distinct energy trail for them to follow. "Captain," Commander Wells said quietly, "are you sure about this?" Elara watched the alien vessel on the view screen, acutely aware that she was making a decision that would affect not just her crew, but potentially humanity's first real contact with an extragalactic civilization. "No," she admitted, "but sometimes leadership means taking calculated risks. And right now, these aliens represent our best chance of understanding what happened to us and maybe finding a way home." As the Pathfinder fell into formation behind the crystalline ship, Elara couldn't shake the feeling that they were crossing a threshold from which there would be no return. Nexus Prime was like no world Elara had ever seen. From orbit, it appeared to be a planet-sized geometric structure, a dodecahedron composed of massive crystalline panels that reflected the light of its sun in dazzling patterns. As they approached, the scale became apparent. Each facet was thousands of kilometers across, with sprawling cities of crystal and light visible even from space. "My God," breathed Dr. Novak as they stared at the view screen. "It's artificial. The entire planet is an engineered construct. The level of technology required for something like this." Shah shook his head in disbelief. "We are so far beyond outmatched, it's not even funny." Their escort guided them to a docking facility embedded in one of the massive facets. As the Pathfinder settled into the designated berth, Elara assembled a first contact team. Herself, Commander Wells for security, Dr. Okafor for medical, Dr. Novak for scientific expertise, and Reyes for communications. Each wore a standard environment suit with helmet, a precaution until they could confirm the atmosphere was safe. "Remember," Elara instructed as they gathered at the airlock, "we represent not just our ship, but all of humanity. Observe protocol, stay together, and maintain an open mind." These beings could be our ticket home. The airlock cycled, and they stepped onto the alien station. The air shimmered with an opalescent haze, and the gravity felt slightly lighter than Earth standard. Their escort, now identified as a being called Resonance of First Light, awaited them, along with 3 other crystalline entities of varying configurations. "Welcome to Nexus Prime," came a translated voice once their suits confirmed the atmosphere was breathable and they had removed their helmets. "Central Processing has allocated resources for comprehensive exchange. Your biology is fascinating. Thank you for your hospitality," Elara responded diplomatically. "We are eager to learn about your civilization as well." Resonance pulsed with what they were beginning to recognize as excitement. "Follow." The architects wished to interface. They were led through corridors that seemed to shift and reconfigure even as they walked, with walls of translucent crystal that occasionally displayed what appeared to be data streams, or perhaps art. It was difficult to tell. Other crystalline beings passed them, each unique in configuration, yet clearly of the same species. Many stopped to observe the humans with obvious curiosity, their bodies flashing with light patterns that the translation matrix couldn't decipher. Finally, they arrived at a vast chamber dominated by a central pillar of crystal that pulsed with a complex rhythm of multicolored light. Surrounding it were 7 larger crystalline entities, each at least 3 meters tall and considerably more complex in structure than Resonance. "The architects of the collective," Resonance announced. "They oversee all." One of the massive entities moved forward, crystalline form reconfiguring as it approached. "Humans of the vessel Pathfinder," came a deeper, more resonant version of the translated voice. "I am harmony in complexity, first architect. Your presence is an anomaly that has not occurred in 7 million cycles." Elara stepped forward. "We appreciate your welcome, first architect. As we explained, our arrival here was accidental." "Yes, the breach of the veil." The massive being pulsed with what might have been concern. "A dangerous occurrence. Separation of galaxies is not arbitrary, Captain Elara Voss. It is necessary." Dr. Novak couldn't contain himself. "Necessary? You mean the isolation between galaxies is deliberate. The architect's form shifted again. Yes, the universe requires balance. Each galaxy evolves according to specific parameters. Cross-contamination leads to complications. What kind of complications? Elara asked, a sense of unease growing within her. Divergent evolutionary paths create incompatibilities. Technologies that should not interact. Biologies that should remain separate. The architect's crystalline form pulsed more intensely. The last cross-galactic contact resulted in the collapse of an entire civilization. The veil was established to prevent recurrence. Commander Wells tensed beside Elara. Are you saying we pose some kind of threat to you? Not intentionally, the architect responded. But the potential exists. Your quantum technology, for instance, it operates on principles that interact unpredictably with our crystalline matrices. Already, your presence has created disturbances in our network. Elara felt a chill run down her spine. We had no idea. If you could help us repair our drive, we would gladly return to our own galaxy. The chamber fell silent for a moment, the central pillar's pulsations slowing dramatically. Then Harmony in Complexity spoke again. That presents a dilemma. The breach you came through is closed. Creating another would require technology we have purposefully abandoned. You're saying we can't go home? Reyes asked, his voice tight with emotion. Not precisely. Another architect interjected, moving forward. I am pattern of infinite recursion. Third architect. We possess historical records of the technology required, but its use was prohibited after the Great Collapse. So you won't help us, Elara concluded, feeling a mixture of disappointment and frustration. The situation requires discussion. Harmony in Complexity stated. The collective must process all variables. You will be provided accommodations while we deliberate. Resonance of First Light will attend to your needs. As they were led away, Dr. Okafor moved closer to Elara. Captain, I don't like this. They are treating us like we are dangerous contaminants. From a perspective, maybe we are, Elara replied quietly. But I'm more concerned about what they are not telling us. Why would cross-galactic contact cause a civilization to collapse? And what exactly are these unpredictable interactions they mentioned? I don't know, Dr. Novak said, his earlier enthusiasm considerably dampened. But I get the feeling we have stumbled into something much bigger than just being lost. Elara nodded grimly. Stay alert, everyone, and let's hope the Pathfinder crew is doing the same. The accommodations provided by the collective were comfortable enough, if somewhat alien in design. The rooms seemed to adapt to their presence, gradually shifting to better suit human physiology. Beds that had initially been crystalline slabs slowly reconfigured into more yielding surfaces. The ambient temperature, initially cool, warmed to a more comfortable level that IT was both impressive and unsettling. After 12 hours without any communication from the architects, Elara called her team together in the central area of their quarters. I don't like being kept in the dark, she said without preamble. Dr. Novak, what have you learned about this place? The astrophysicist had been permitted to access some of the collective's scientific databases, a gesture of goodwill, according to Resonance. It's extraordinary, Captain. The Crystalline Collective isn't just ancient. They're one of the first intelligent species to evolve in this galaxy, perhaps 15 million years ago. That's older than most life on Earth, Dr. Okafor remarked. Precisely. And they have engineered themselves as much as they have engineered this world. Their crystalline forms aren't natural. They're the result of a deliberate evolution from what were originally carbon-based life forms, not entirely unlike us. Reyes frowned. Why would they do that? Efficiency, apparently. Their consciousness exists as patterns of energy flowing through their crystalline matrices. They are essentially living computers capable of processing vast amounts of information. They don't age, they don't reproduce in the way we understand it, and they can reconfigure themselves for different functions. What about this Havel they mentioned? Commander Wells asked. And this prohibition on cross-galactic travel? Dr. Novak's expression grew troubled. The information there is more limited. There are references to something called the Great Collapse, an event approximately 3 million years ago that devastated multiple galaxies. The details are restricted, but from what I can gather, it involves some kind of catastrophic chain reaction triggered by the interaction of incompatible technologies. Elara processed this information carefully. So, they believe our presence here could potentially trigger another catastrophe. It's possible. Their entire civilization seems built around the principle of controlled evolution. They manage the development of technology and life throughout their galaxy, ensuring it all remains compatible, for lack of a better term. That's disturbing, Commander Wells said flatly. It sounds like they're playing God with an entire galaxy. Perhaps, Dr. Novak conceded, but from their perspective, they are preventing disaster. And given their age and advancement, they may have insights we lack. Before anyone could respond, the door to their quarters reconfigured, revealing resonance of first light. The architects have reached consensus, the crystalline being announced. Your presence will be addressed to the Grand Conclave. Please follow. They were led to an even larger chamber than before, where hundreds of crystalline beings had assembled in concentric rings around a central platform. The 7 architects occupied the platform, their forms pulsing in synchronized patterns that harmony and complexity gestured for Elara and her team to join them. Captain Elara Voss, the first architect, began once they had taken their places. The collective has analyzed all variables. Our conclusion is both complex and concerning. Elara steeled herself. We are prepared to hear your decision. Your arrival has already initiated changes within our systems. The quantum principles upon which your drive operates, what you call superposition entanglement, creates resonance patterns that disrupt our crystalline matrices. This disruption is minor but cumulative. Are you saying our technology is damaging you? Elara asked, alarmed. Not damage. Transformation. Your presence introduces variables outside our evolutionary parameters. Given sufficient time, these variables would propagate throughout the collective, potentially destabilizing our entire civilization. Dr. Novak stepped forward. I don't understand. How could our presence cause such dramatic effects? We are just one ship with limited technology. Another architect, one they hadn't met before, moved forward. I am symmetry across dimensions, 5th architect. The issue is not the scale of your technology, but its fundamental nature. Your species evolve in a galaxy with different physical constants, different formative pressures. The quantum principles you utilize create harmonic disruptions in our matrix consciousness, like introducing a virus to a biological system. Dr. Okafor suggested. An imperfect but useful analogy, the architect acknowledged. The Great Collapse occurred when a species from another galaxy introduced technology that catalyzed an uncontrolled transformation in multiple civilizations. Billions of sentient beings were lost before the process could be contained. Elara felt a growing sense of dread. And you believe we pose a similar threat? The potential exists, harmony in complexity confirmed. However, unlike our ancestors, we have had time to analyze the situation. We believe we can create a controlled breach in the veil to return you to your galaxy. But the process carries significant risk. What kind of risk? Commander Wells asked sharply. The energy required to create a stable wormhole is immense. The process will temporarily destabilize the lattice structure of Nexus Prime. There's a 22.7% probability that the destabilization will cascade beyond our control. Elara was stunned. You are willing to risk your entire civilization to send us home? The alternative is worse. Pattern of infinite recursion stated. If you remain, the disruptions will grow. Eventually, they will become unmanageable. Our models predict total systems failure within 7 standard years. There's something else, symmetry across dimensions added. Our long-range sensors have detected unusual activity in your home galaxy. Energetic disturbances consistent with multiple breaches of the veil. A murmur ran through the assembled crystalline beings. Are you saying more wormholes are opening between galaxies? Dr. Novak asked, his voice rising with alarm. It appears so. The storm that brought you here may not have been an isolated incident. The architect's form pulsed with what might have been concern. If the veil is weakening naturally, the consequences could be far-reaching. All galaxies could face transformation or collapse. Elara's mind raced. Could this already be affecting Earth? Our colonies? Unknown. But the probability is significant. The implications were staggering. If what the architects were saying was true, not only were they stranded in an alien galaxy, but their home might be facing an existential threat of cosmic proportions. We need to get back, she said firmly. Not just for our sake, but to warn Earth about what's happening. Harmony in complexities form rippled. Then we are in agreement. The collective will assist you in returning to your galaxy, despite the risks to ourselves. The alternative, allowing multiple uncontrolled breaches, presents a greater threat to all. How long will it take to prepare this? Control breach? Elara asked. 3 of your days to reconfigure the necessary systems. Pattern of infinite recursion replied. During this time, your vessel must be modified to withstand the transition. Modified how? Your quantum drive matrix must be recalibrated to harmonize with the breach parameters. We will provide guidance to your engineers. Elara nodded. When can we begin? Immediately, Harmony in Complexity stated. Time is of the essence. Each moment increases the probability of further natural breaches. As they were escorted back to the Pathfinder to begin preparations, Commander Wells pulled Elara aside. Captain, are we really trusting them with our only way home? For all we know, they are manipulating us. Do you have an alternative to suggest? Elara asked quietly. Wells hesitated. No, but something about this doesn't feel right. They're telling us our very presence threatens their existence. Yet they're willing to risk everything to help us leave? It seems too altruistic. Elara had been thinking the same thing. I agree. That's why I want you to coordinate with Shah. Double-check everything they do to our systems. If anything seems off, I want to know immediately. And if they are manipulating us. Elara's expression hardened. Then we will show them that humans are more adaptable than they realize. The next 3 days were a blur of activity. A team of what the collective called implementers, specialized crystalline beings with intricate knowledge of quantum mechanics, came aboard the Pathfinder to assist with the modifications. Lieutenant Commander Shah worked alongside them, his initial skepticism gradually giving way to grudging respect for their expertise. It's incredible, Captain, he reported during their daily briefing. They are reconfiguring our quantum drive in ways I never would have considered. The principles they're using. Some of it contradicts what we thought we knew about quantum physics, but the mathematics checks out. Are you comfortable with the changes? Elara asked. Shah considered the question carefully. Yes and no. I understand maybe 70% of what they are doing. The rest is beyond our current science. But Commander Wells has been monitoring everything, and we have run multiple simulations. The modifications should work as promised. Should. There are too many variables for absolute certainty. But if their goal is truly to send us home safely, then yes, I believe these modifications will accomplish that. Dr. Novak, who had been working closely with the collective scientists, added, the brilliance of their approach is that they are not just creating a wormhole. They are establishing a resonance between our quantum drive and the natural fabric of space-time. It's like finding the exact frequency needed to make a wine glass shatter, but applied to the barriers between galaxies. Elara frowned. That doesn't sound reassuring. It's more control than I'm making it sound, Novak hastened to add. The point is, they're using our own technology as the key to unlock the door home. It's elegant and potentially dangerous, Commander Wells reminded them. We still don't fully understand why cross-galactic contact is so catastrophic from their perspective. Elara nodded. Keep monitoring their work. I want hourly reports on anything unusual. As the modifications neared completion, Elara was summoned once more to meet with the architects. This time, only harmony in complexity and pattern of infinite recursion were present, their crystalline forms subtly dimmer than before. Preparations near completion. Harmony stated without preamble. But we must discuss final parameters. What parameters? Elara asked cautiously. The breach will open approximately 20 light years from your soul system, Pattern explained. We cannot target more precisely without risking destabilization of the wormhole. Additionally, once you have transited, we must close the breach permanently. There can be no return. Elara had expected as much. We understand. 20 light years is manageable. We can send messages ahead at light speed while we make our way home. There is another matter. Harmony continued, the crystalline being's tone becoming more solemn. We have prepared a data package containing our knowledge of the Veil and the dangers of cross-galactic contact. This information must reach your leaders. Of course, Elara agreed readily. Any insights you can provide will be invaluable. The information is sensitive, Pattern added. It includes historical records of the Great Collapse and theoretical models for stabilizing the Veil. In the wrong hands, this knowledge could be misused. You have my word that it will only be shared with appropriate authorities, Elara promised. The two architects seemed to communicate silently, their forms pulsing in synchronized patterns. Finally, Harmony's voice emerged again. There is one final matter. The breach creation process will generate an energy surge throughout Nexus Prime. All non-essential systems will be temporarily shut down, including our defensive capabilities. You are making yourselves vulnerable, Elara observed. Are there threats in this galaxy we should be aware of? The Collective has maintained peace for millions of years, Pattern stated. But there are entities that do not share our philosophy of controlled evolution. They seek technological advancement without restriction. The energy signature of the breach may attract their attention. You're talking about another species? Hostile to you. Not hostile. Incompatible, Harmony corrected. They believe in unrestricted technological advancement, regardless of consequences. They call themselves the Quantum Ascendancy. They have been contained in a distant sector, but they are always seeking opportunities to expand their influence. Elara frowned. In creating this breach might give them such an opportunity. It is a calculated risk we are willing to take, Pattern said. The alternative, allowing the Veil to weaken naturally, presents a greater threat to all. Something about the situation still didn't sit right with Elara, but they were out of options. When do we depart? The final calibrations will be complete in 6 hours, Harmony informed her. The breach will be generated 2 hours after that. You must be prepared to transit immediately. The window will remain stable for less than 3 minutes. Elara nodded. We will be ready. As she turned to leave, Pattern called after her. Captain Elara Voss, there's one more thing you should know. She paused, turning back. Yes, the modifications to your quantum drive will allow you to detect weaknesses in the Veil. If our fears are correct and multiple breaches are forming, your vessel may be the only one capable of locating them. Why tell me this now? The crystalline being seemed to hesitate. Because knowledge is responsibility. The data package we provided includes theoretical methods for sealing such breaches. Your species may need this capability sooner than you imagine. With that cryptic warning, Elara was escorted back to the Pathfinder, a growing sense of unease settling in her stomach. 5 hours later, Elara stood on the bridge of her ship, watching as the final preparations were made. The Pathfinder had been moved to a launch position near the edge of the Nexus Prime system, aimed toward an empty region of space where the breach would be generated. All systems are green, Shah reported from the engineering station. The modified quantum drive is responding perfectly to the test sequences. Crew is secured for potential turbulence, Commander Wells added. Medical has prepared for possible transition sickness, similar to what we experienced during the initial breach. Elara nodded. Communications? Channel to Nexus Prime is open, Reyes confirmed. They are beginning the power-up sequence.